protection on cavalry. I think it's pretty helpful. So here on the south side, we have El Greco as Rome, or as Egypt, and he started here with his scorpions facing the opposite way. And here on the north side, we have Macedon as Bastard, and he brought tons of this Greek ballista. And he's going to start here on this little perch with his whole army probably right down here. Not a bad starting point because here it's going to force his opponent to come at him. I feel, okay, these shots should be in flaming mode. But he's going to take early shots here trying to take out the scorpions. One of them does connect, but it didn't kill the scorpion. It just killed the men on it. So he's going to have that back in. I think needs to choose his shots a little more wisely. Turn on flaming mode as well. The inaccuracy is okay because these shots are very inaccurate. That guy got completely decimated by that rock. But a lot of these shots here are, I think, being wasted on these units. He needs to choose maybe cavalry if he can focus it over here on the left side. This cavalry would be a good shot, or this cavalry. And then one of these guys have small units, so I'll tell him after this battle. You fix that. But that's okay for now. So he is trying to now focus these royal guards, but the shots aren't hitting. They're pretty far away, and looks like the cavalry over here is going to spot their enemy cavalry. Aspis Cav, there's 3 of them versus 2. So Egypt needs to pull out of this one. He's going to lose this fight if he decides to stay. And he wisely retreats. But these Aspis Cav are getting javelin shots in, and all of a sudden they slow down, and they are going to get caught by the Egyptian Cav, or by the Macedonian Cav. So now he's stuck, retreating away, and he doesn't come back for this engagement. And this Cav is trying to retreat. They're trying to squeeze out. A few of their guys are making it, but they're breaking in the process. And it looks like that unit is going to rout here. But he charges right back with his Cav, getting good charges here on the Aspis Cav. But these Aspis Cav are very durable. The very front one took the brunt of that charge, and it's going to allow for the rest of the units to stay here. But there's 3 Aspis Cav here versus 2 of Egyptian Cav. So Macedonians should win this Cav fight. But if these units here make it before he's able to rout the rest of the units, then he's going to lose. What was that? A perfect cannon shot. A perfect, look at this. Wow. What an amazing shot. So lucky. One of these ballista shots hit straight down this line and literally took out half of these forces. Look at that. So lucky. So lucky. So they're going to make it here with half the forces here. One of these guys were 3 chevrons. Wow, and that guy got hit hard. The Aspis Cav here are actually breaking, especially now that the Egyptian infantry is here. The Aspis Cav should be able to hold out, but they're going to take more casualties than they want. So here on the right-hand side, because we know that one's going to go to Macedon if he pulls out correctly, these Cav are going to try to poke, going to probably try to get to these ballistas. These ballistas are doing a lot of damage to his front line. He's trying his best to get there without taking any casualties. But you can see that this ballista doing a great job. 32 kills on this one, and what is the other one at? 37 and 32? That's insane for the unit count here. 1 companion Cav. This is the general unit. He should turn and take it out because he's giving him a free general kill, and he's going to go for it. This companion Cav isn't too good. I think it's only 500 denarii, I guess, for the unit. Back here on the other side, it looks like the Aspis Cav were able to get good charges here into the backs of the royal guards, taking out lots of units, and they're going to get cleaned up relatively easily. So it was actually a bad move to send that skirmish force out there to the side to support the cavalry battle. It ended up getting taken out very quickly, especially by that really lucky ballista shot. I can't believe that shot. That was ridiculous. He could not repeat that if he tried. What was that shot? It's like a javelin throw. So the general unit here is Barely alive. Wow, he actually saved it. He ran all his units down here to save that unit, was able to pull it off. His general is still alive, and that is key to this fight. Now, the ballista here are pretty much out of commission because of the way they were facing. The Scorpions here are trying to take shots at the ballista, but that's not going to do anything. So he's just going to drop the ballistas and run to the fight with those units and hope they can get some kills. So now here's going to come the main force here. Royal Peltas versus Royal Guards. Peltas, all the throws were striking the shields, but we have a big ball force. He needs to spread a little bit thinner here. I don't think he realized he had them all selected, but now it's too late. No, he didn't notice. So Egypt here is going to be able to come back. If he gets this around, he needs to run these units. He needs to let go of Pike, run his units here, and then reform the Pike right before he engages. But he is not doing that. And it's just going to be a slow march into this ball fight. Egypt needs to hurry up before Macedon realizes his mistake and reforms. Pikes are able to thrust through their units here. That isn't... Never seen that. Hellenic Royal Guard here now advancing into the side, and once they do that, they're going to rack up tons of kills. He needs to move maybe a little bit closer and then form... all of these slingers are trying to thwart off the Aspis Cav here, but the Aspis Cav are just going to charge straight through, but they did get caught by Hellenic Royal Guard, so that is not good. The General Companion Cav did engage the general from Egypt, and they're both pretty much even. Oh no, Egypt has a little bit more, so Egypt's going to take out that unit relatively quickly. And look at El Greco wisely running his units all the way around, pulling it off Macedon warrior style, but... Bastard does finally realize his mistake, retreats his units back to reform a decent line, and form from there. He needs to do that quickly. But that unit is going to rout because they're running straight through the pikes, and it looks like they did rout. So all these units are actually routing because of the engulf here by Egypt. Oh my god. Macedon threw that one away by balling up his units into that initial fight, letting Egypt pretty much get the perfect surrounds without having to do any work at all. And Egypt really had that battle. I mean, Macedon had that battle with the initial Cav win on that far side, but he threw it away there. So let me tell these guys to make sure they're on I'm just going to remind them now to put the small units on, but that was a big blunder there by Macedon by not spreading a thin line there with even his pikemen. If he just had maybe even pikemen on reserve, or if he just sent his pikemen forward and left his Peltas as reserve, that would have been even better. But that's what happens when you get surrounded. We have small units, so we're trying to figure out how to get the units back to large. I'm not sure whose it is. I think it might be Greco's, only because Bastard did play in the last one and we had large there. So he is going to go check that. And let's see what they decide to switch to. I'm going to put up the little bar there so you can't see the units. So he's going to go ahead and switch out. Bastard needs to make sure to not pull off that blunder again, because that really cost him that fight. He needs to pay attention more when the fight is happening like that. I know he was rushed because his general was getting caught and he was busy micromanaging it, but you can't forget about your main army, especially in that case. Just making sure all the unit sizes are large. I believe I don't think it's me. Um, Getting both of these guys to check. He just like my Rome crashed there. I was trying to check all that. We get back into the game. We're just trying to figure out who had the small units so that we can have bigger battles. I think we have it fixed now, and hopefully there's no small battles in the next one. Once again, guys, we do these tournaments every week, so if you are interested in playing or just watching, be sure to stay tuned for that. The information will be posted on I post on my site or on my Steam group. So if you guys do want to stay updated, go ahead and join the Steam group because I post everything there. So it looks like the units are still small. Okay, so they went ahead and switched it, so now we will see a big battle there. That is the site there, and there's all the information at the top. You can check out the YouTube if you guys did miss any of the previous battles. That is the YouTube from the last week, so if you guys do want to check out the battles, if you missed them, you can go ahead and look there. If not, you can follow this stream or join the Steam group. Up to you guys. If not, then you know that every week, just meet up here, and we will have these cool battles. So it is now set to large, so we are fine. So we're just going to wait on both these players to ready up. Looks like we're going to see Egypt again out of El Greco, and then Carthage this time out of Bastards, switching it up. Surprised he's not going for maybe like a Verni or Subi to try to do a more skirmish style. But it seems like he prefers the pike, so we'll see. We'll see how he decides to pick his units, whether it's more mobility or more pike. Because technically you can still bring a pike army if you just bring like Hellenic Royal Guard, then Bronze Shield Pikemen, and just set your whole army like that. Max of 4 of each. You could technically still pull off the whole pike army, but that is going to ruin your mobility, so you have to be really careful with that. But okay, Bastard is ready. El Greco is ready, so we'll be into this match here. And I will remove that little bar, or that middle thing here in a second. And hopefully everything goes underway perfect and nothing bad happens. There shouldn't be any wolves in a desert, so we don't have to worry about that. Last week we had so many 2v2 crashes that that I believed it was the wolves in the game that were causing the crashes, and I would always look for them. Okay, so Egypt here, starting himself off in a pretty good position, giving himself the uphill advantage. So in order to counter that, Carthage needs to really march up here. So El Greco is playing as Egypt, and we have Carthage here out of Bastard. Egypt is up 1-0, so he does need to pull off this victory. Carthage does, in order to move on. So yeah, we have elephants out here in the field. It'd be really cool if these elephants were able to randomly walk and kill your units, but they actually don't. They just walk through them. Not cool, it would suck, but it would be very funny to see. So these units are large. Okay, that's good to see. So the units are good, and everything is underway. So as soon as they get their armies set up, they will be ready to go. But once again, Bastard is going to have his work cut out for him. He does need to win this one in order to stay into this game, into the tournament. And he needs to make better plays and spread thin and probably go to the top of this hill at the beginning. That's probably what I do, unless you have a lot of pikes, in which case you might be okay just staying in the middle. But generally, I think they're going to fight for this top. Probably a lot of cavalry here. And whoever wins this top is going to have just a slight advantage. Hill advantage were very, very big in Shogun too. I mean, they're still really big in Rome, but I generally don't see it happen too often. Rome, I would say most of Rome maps are small, and it just requires maneuvering. While Shogun's was so much based off terrain. Just so much terrain advantage, hiding your units and using little like face cliffs to protect your guys from fire or anything like that. So we're probably going to see a big attack here on the top, unless they retreat back to this corner. Looks like Bastard is ready, so we're just going to wait on El Greco to go ahead and say that he's ready as well. Good luck, have fun out of both of these players. Once again, everyone in this game, everyone in these tournaments, very nice and very friendly, willing to stay through any hardship to pull off these battles. And once again, we're just waiting on El Greco to ready up and start this match off. El Greco is up 1-0, so Egypt is the one that is ahead. So if you guys want to see this battle end, root for Egypt. If not, root for Carthage. So here on the south side of the minimap, we have Egypt here with a decent amount of Hellenic Royal Guard and cavalry mixed in with some of the Galatian Royal Guards. And here in the north, we have a ton of, what is this, Sacred Band, Libyan Infantry, and Noble Cav out of Carthage. Carthage choosing to just stay in this bottom side. Sacred Band using their phalanx to try to do some decent damage, but he opted to not go the pike route. Instead, a lot of spears with only one pike unit. Let's see if he's able to pull that off. He did start way down in this corner. I mean, I'm not too sure what he's thinking. Like, Egypt had the idea that Carthage was going to try to spawn up here, so he set all his units here at the top. But after he spawned, he realized Carthage was at the bottom, so it's going to be a march down the hill to Carthage. Well, Carthage is probably just going to sit down there, try to form a defense, and let Egypt attack into him. The thing is, there's only one slinger here, which I think Egypt has more than that. Egypt has 3. So technically, Egypt can really just harass for a short while and do a decent amount of damage there. And just initial horses moving into position, trying to do some damage, trying to poke, trying to figure out what their opponent's doing. And looks like Egypt is going to pull back on his cavalry because he sees all of the noble cav here by Carthage moving up this hill to try to get an advantage up here. His general is also in this army, which may or may not be a good thing, because if his whole army engages, then he is going to be stuck with his general so far away from his army and able to give his army the morale it needs to survive in a prolonged battle. But maybe this is just like a feint to try to make him think that all his units are going up this hill, and then what he's going to do is just send his general down and fight. But both of these guys are having their generals way off to the side. This actually looks really cool because the units are so spread out and they don't want to engage in each other. So they're just moving around and deciding what they're going to do. I mean, Egypt ideally would just walk down and start shelling Carthage with all of the missiles, but he's going to allow Carthage to come up to him. Looks like these Egyptian infantry are up here trying to protect against the cavalry, but I feel like the cavalry really could just charge through. Granted, there is a lot of support here by Egyptian cav, so that's good to see because even if Carthage does decide to go for these two units, Egypt will just send his cav here and here to go ahead and support these infantry units. So Carthage here is trying to make his way up this hill. Now, I think he should have done this in the beginning, but opting now to go for the top of this hill. A lot of maneuvering, like I said before, in this 1v1. They really just love moving their armies from like one side of the map to the other and then engaging in some ridiculous location. Egypt sees this, so it looks like Egypt now is going to be moving his units to counter this uphill advance by Carthage in order to not allow him to get this advantage. Now, Carthage technically could march all the way up and have this corner, which is not bad, and he's going to make it there with relative ease. Egypt can't really do anything about that, especially with all this cav over here on this side. It's going to force Egypt to respond and keep units here. Stop that. But there is 4 cav here versus a total of, what is it, 3 cav here? So it's 3 versus 4 cav with a little bit of infantry. So this infantry does need to support these cavalry units, Egypt's cav, while Carthage does need to try to make an engagement maybe over here away from this infantry so that he can get a clean kill and take out most of the cav of Egypt. We'll see how that takes place. Like I said, a lot of maneuvering. Like, look at all of the units just advancing. They have to be exhausted from charging this far. They're still relatively fresh, though. They're still green there in that regard. So he is trying to go up this hill. Wise choice from him, but I feel like he should have done that a lot sooner, especially after analyzing the terrain and realizing that his opponent did start up there. The cav now are facing off, but it looks like actually he's bringing his elephants up to support his cavalry. Very wise decision there, because he knows these elephants can really tear through if they charge the infantry, and they'll also be supported by the cavalry that he has over here. And once he already has the cavalry advantage, he's going to bring this up to take care of the infantry, and that's going to be really good. Egypt needs to respond by bringing maybe some sort of spear unit or just another unit over there to support, because if this continues up here with the mini fight, Carthage is going to win. So here we go. Carthage is going to move his general back. This is what I expected to see because, you don't want to fight with your general way over there. So, okay, looks like Egypt is going to be supporting there with more units. He's sending 2 more infantry, which may or may not be a good thing because that frees up all of Carthage's infantry to pretty much walk up here and fight. Now, Bastard of Bastard, known for grouping up his units, needs to spread thin here. He really needs to maneuver his units and get in good engages and not ball up. If he balls up again, he's going to get surrounded and die very quickly. So he needs to not make that mistake. He has the time to maneuver all of his units, but once again, he is focusing here on the side. Looks like we did have the engage with all of the cav here. He sent in all the cav onto these 2, but now Egypt is going to get a good flank charge here with his Ptolemaic cavalry, and his elephants are still really far away. I mean, this is the engage he wanted, but look at this extra charge that's about to go down here. If he does decide to do it, Egypt needs to charge. Egypt is charging now. The abilities are being used, and this is going to be a really devastating charge here onto these units. Look at that charge. That killed. That's racking up the kills now. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Taking out these units. One of these noble cav are routing, wavering, and that is not good. So here on the right side now, the actual engage happened. He sent 2 for 1 here on his Galatian Royal Guard. 2 sacred bands on it, but he's balling up again. He needs to flank these units around, or he's just going to get completely engulfed once again. He has a little mini force here that's advancing up the front, but Egypt is covering all of those routes. And over here, the noble cav is getting completely surrounded now. All the infantry now making its way in. A little bit of javelin throws, taking out that one horse. Didn't even have a rider. They just completely decimated a horse. And now they're going to make it back into this fight. But all these noble cav are completely surrounded. They're going to be routing here shortly. Elephant's here trying to do decent damage, but he needs to now win this infantry fight. He's doing a decent job, but he needs to have his forces have more face against the enemy. Charges going straight into this sacred band. It's not going to do too much because these are spears, but with the compact of these units, with the Hellenic Royal Guard there in the front, they're going to deal actually a lot of damage. He's getting flank set through. Here in the middle, Libyan infantry are trying to make their way into the rest of the units. The general noble cav did free itself up, but he charged. Oh no! A little bit of them got clipped there by the Hellenic Royal Guard. And then straight into another Hellenic Royal Guard. Oh, mistakes all over the place. This Hellenic Royal Guard only has 10 units left. And he's, the noble cav. And the noble cav got routed. His general got routed by 2 mistakes here. Egypt doing a great job at forcing Carthage to chase his units and then get a complete advantage over him. He's so good. Egypt is really good at baiting his opponent into these fights. And up here on top of the hill, we see a victory here from Egypt with barely losing any units. And Carthage now just advancing into pike lines, sending his pikes forward, but he's just running straight into these pike lines. And there's not too much more he can do, especially with all the cover from these slingers. Here on the south side, this is the rest of the infantry, but we saw these guys get completely surrounded initially. And Egypt doing a great job at bringing units all the way around and hitting the backs of all of Carthage's units. And Carthage not responding at all to any of these. Did we get a double game pause? I think both of these players might have tabbed. Let's see. Not sure what that was. They didn't say anything in chat, so there's nothing on that. But looks like Bastard did say GG, and he just has 1 or 2 units left fighting for its life. But once again, I think he just balled up his units too much there. I mean, balling up your units isn't a bad thing sometimes, but when you're trying to engage, when you have the advantage, you don't want to funnel up. You really want to get the surround. And Egypt was able to pull that off very well by tying down, using 1 unit to tie down 3 or 4 of Carthage's units, and then after that, just completely finishing it off. Let me now talk